Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You raise Joe Biden or his son's name with Ukraine?
Well, I don't even want to mention it, but certainly I'd have every right to. If there's corruption and we're paying lots of money to a country, we don't want a country that we're giving massive aid to be corrupting our system. But what I said was so good. It was a great conversation. It was a really great conversation, and everybody will say that.
What I said to him, first of all, my English at the time when I was speaking to him was impeccable. It was awesome. It's probably the best spoken English in the history of English that was being spoken to another human being from another country. The phone call itself definitely ranks in the top 5 phone calls in the history of phone calls. You guys are going to love it. In fact, when you listen to it, you may fall in love more with me. I can't help. I'm like a siren, right? Remember those sirens? That's what it is. I'm like that. What exactly happened? People are like, what's this all about? People over the weekend were asking me. I was like, here's the deal. Hunter Biden has been fortunate enough to be Hunter Biden, which means through his name, opportunities have befelled him. And through that, he has profited quite well, including a oil and gas exploration company called Burisma Holdings, which is out of Limassol, Cyprus, but they do all of their stuff essentially in the Ukraine, in and around Crimea. He's on the board. He's a paid member of the board. There were people that were looking into some of the stuff that was going on with them back in 2013 and 14. There was a prosecutor who essentially was kicked off the case as they were looking into this. Let's not forget the fact that there was $1 billion+ in an investment firm in China that also threw some money and threw him on the board and gave him a paid opportunity. People are asking the questions. Did Trump do anything wrong? It depends. Did Trump threaten anything? And that is the big, big thing. Did he threaten them with, if you don't do this, if you don't look into this, if you don't do any of these things, we're going to withhold money and equipment and stuff that we promised you? That is an issue, a huge issue, no matter how beautiful the phone call was. That's a big issue. Biden's pissed. And by the way, let's just move away from a second between Biden and Trump. This is handing people in the Democratic Party who are going to go hard at Biden more ammunition. They love it. They love it. It's not been brought up yet, but my sources say it's going to be brought up because there are people that had questions. And long before Trump came there and was even thinking about running for president, people had questions about some of the dealings with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, flying around on Air Force Two, doing certain things like that. The Obama administration said, well, he's a private citizen. So there's some serious questions there. And look, in fairness, take a look at this. If it's Trump's family, we hear about it nonstop. If it's Biden's family, Trump brings it up. Now, where there's smoke, there's fire. How much smoke is there? What's the whistleblower really have that concern them? Because I will say this, if, and it's a big if because we've heard a lot of these things before, if he did threaten to pull, to take away aid, stuff like that, then that's a serious issue right there.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened? That appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum.
Yeah, I don't even know if you're going to be around long enough to beat him like a drum. But it's a very curious thing. If he did do that, and I told people this weekend who are just ardent Trump supporters who are in love with him, who are mad at me because I suggested, hey, if he went and actually did this, if he went and actually threatened to pull aid and stuff away, that's a real issue. That is. Does it rise to the issue where we're talking treason and we're talking potentially death penalty?
Talk about pressuring a foreign country to interfere with and control a U.S. election. It couldn't be clearer. And that's not just undermining democratic institutions. That is treason. It's treason pure and simple. And the penalty for treason under the U.S. Code is death. That's the only penalty. The penalty under the Constitution is removal from office, and that might look like a pretty good alternative to the president if he could work out a plea deal.
Yeah, well, they're not going to put him to death. But I think it's a very, very, very potentially serious issue for Trump. If, and somebody says, well, the boy cried wolf. I said, well, if you read the whole story, the boy cries wolf, and eventually the wolf shows up. But nobody believes him. And when they do, it's too late. So let's just remember that. Don't know what's going to happen. Couldn't tell you what's going to happen because I've heard all this stuff before, so I'm very hesitant to think that there's anything here. But could there be something here? Of course. There could be something in everything. There could be. And the reality is, while doing this, Trump could potentially take out what could be his toughest opponent and maybe hurt himself along the way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. So today, now producer Phil on the way in today because it's shut down D.C. Day because for the climate change, right?
Yes, there were many protests down on the mall today.
I saw some of the protests. They're very interesting. Greta Thunberg is speaking today, and she's the young lady who has kind of started this massive, huge thing by bringing in the young. She's pissed off and angry at the young. At the old. She is really, really angry.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Oh, she's pissed and angry. And she may be right, because Chairman Nadler here is, you want to talk about a warning, kids. I want you guys to brace yourself, because if you're young, my goal is to live to 100. I am 48 years young. I don't think I have a chance, according to this.
50 years. Extinction in the history of the globe. If the oceans acidified, essentially all that will be left will be bacteria and maybe some plants. And none of us, none of our children, no mammals, no animals, except for amoeba. This is what the scientists tell us we face in the next 50 years. We have to stop this. The Green New Deal, absolutely. We have to do that.
Just an amoeba. That's all that's going to be left. Just an amoeba. That's it. We're going to go through some of the crazy things that have been told are going to happen starting back in the 60s throughout the show today. But I will tell you, by the way, in 1967, dire famine forecast by 1975 that pretty much there will be no food on Earth. 1969, everyone will disappear in a cloud of blue stream by 1989. And, of course, 1970, the famous there will be an ice age by 2000. We're just touching on some of these throughout the day. I want you guys to get an understanding of what potentially is going on. I want to do better, too, but goodness me. Some of this stuff, you listen to the people and you're like, oh, wait, what's going on? Because I'm feeling like, talk about pushing. Talk about craziness. Like some of it is just so over the top and the sky is falling always. After a while, you step back and go, I'm not sure I'm believing the sky is always falling. And, but hey, look, we'll sit back. We'll see what happens, right? I want to do better. I always want to do better. Oh, my God, do I want to do better? I talk about it all the time. You guys listen to me. You guys understand. I want to do better for the environment. But I also realize, and I think people need to realize this, too. Without economic growth, without people living and earning a living and doing certain things, guess what ends up happening? It's worse than climate change if everything went off the rails, right? You don't have to worry about 50 years. We ain't making it 50 minutes. My God, people can't even go 20 minutes without a damn phone. Think about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. I didn't watch the Emmys last night, and it's one of those things. I tweeted out something about the Emmys, right? I tweeted out, it's another night I didn't watch the Emmys. And people are like, oh, it's because it's political. And I said, no, it has nothing to do with that. I don't know any of the shows. Like, I know none of the shows at all anymore. Like, I've heard of them. I've never watched an episode. And I'm not bragging here. All right, I don't want to brag here. I've never watched an episode of, Game of Thrones. I haven't. I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones. I've never watched Fleabag. I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is, Producer Phil? Fleabag? The one like best comedy?
No, I had the same thing when I was listening to the news on the way in, and they were talking about how many Emmys it won. I'm like, I never heard of it.
Never heard of it, right? Like, I've never watched Orange is the New Black. I've seen 1 or 2 episodes of Veep. And there's nothing to do whether or not these shows are any good or not. It's just me. I just don't watch a lot of TV like that. I watch sports and a few other things. But outside of that, I'm on the news and I'm reading a lot and spending time with the kids and having fun. And I still watch Gunsmoke. So there you go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. By the way, with all of this stuff going on, let's not forget, on Friday night, they did a late dump, which means what? Yes, they dumped some news that we're going to be sending people over to Saudi Arabia and the UAE in potential opportunity here to hopefully shore up what many people are looking at. Iran is doing what Iran does. Rouhani and Trump are not going to meet, but apparently he's going to come and speak at the UN. Rouhani is.
Both sides say that they want to avoid war, and President Trump has instead chosen to send more military equipment and U.S. troops to the region. But we've heard from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Sunday telling our ABC's Martha Raddatz that they want a peaceful resolution to this. I think the issue is that neither side is really working with each other to get there.
No, it's not. They're not working with each other. And but what are our allies doing? The British saw their ship being held, right? I haven't heard much from our allies about what took place in Saudi Arabia with the drone strikes. There's a lot of things here, and we've got to figure out exactly who's in this to win this and who's not. And I think too often, everybody looks at us to do something, and their thing is, well, if you guys win, we'll be on your side. If not, we're going to stand on the sidelines. No, people need to figure this thing out. They do. Because if it's ugly for us, it's ugly for everybody over there. You know that. I know that. We all know that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter and Instagram. Tell you what, slept great. Took 2 amazing naps. I read a great article that says that naps are the key to longevity in life last week. Several studies showing that a good nap, once or twice a week. And I tell you what, man, I napped well a couple times. Just so amazing. Thank you, Mike Lindell. Thank you, MyPillow. That's all. That's the difference. Right? I had my mattress topper I got from them, my sheets, everything. It's just incredible. Right now, they're giving you a huge opportunity. Save up to 50% off everything. Everything. It is incredible. Including, they got this giant body pillow that's just so casual and cool. Normally it's $90, $29.99. Promo code Benson. 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. This is what I want you to do. Click on the radio listener special. Use my code Benson. You're going to save up to 50% off. My pillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, everything there. Right? Including the amazing body pillow for only $29.99. 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. You got nothing to lose. Nothing. Go now. MyPillow.com, radio listener special. Use promo code Benson or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Make sure that promo code Benson. It is for your best night's sleep. Small things go a long way in your life. 800-983-4975. Visit MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Well, tonight is a kind of like fairy tale ending for me and for my own personal story. There really won't be any satisfaction for me until the larger message is heard, and that's what I really wanted to point out tonight. When you look at the numbers, 52% on the dollar is what a Hispanic woman will make compared to white male, 62%. The numbers rise incrementally as you go on. The numbers aren't out yet for Native women, but they expect them to be worse than for Hispanic women.
There you go. Michelle Williams talking about parity and pay and getting paid, because she didn't feel, a lot of people don't feel like they pay women the same, and in many cases they don't. In some cases they do. And in Hollywood, look, that's a Hollywood thing, right? Like, you guys do you, right? You guys, that is a Hollywood thing. So if you don't feel you're getting paid enough, don't look at the rest of the country to be upset over what you do or don't get paid. You guys have preached to the world about all kinds of stuff, and then when you dig deep and you look, you're like, oh, wait a minute here. You don't even follow your own damn rules. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody tweeted earlier. In fact, two people did, virtually said the same thing. Our buddy Jim, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, another person who tweeted at me, said, if getting rid of Nadler means all of us have to go, it's a fair trade-off, talking about climate change, because Nadler said that in 50 years, nothing will be here. It'll be an ocean with maybe an amoeba, a few plants. That's it. It's over. There's nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else you could do. Nothing else. It's too late. The hubris of people. Oh, my God. It's crazy. It is. Like, am I wrong to find a little bit of this crazy? Like some of this? I think so. Here's some more stuff that the climate people have said through the years are going to happen. So by 1970, America's subject to water rationing by 74, food rationing by 80. 71, another ice age coming by 2020 or 2030. 72, they said a new ice age by 2070. 74, they said space satellites spotted a new ice age coming fast. 74 again, yet another ice age. 74, ozone depletion, a great peril to life. Yeah. Crazy. Indeed. Indeed. You're not going to find the truth when people are vying for power. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I support what is happening in the Judiciary Committee because that enables them to do their process of interrogation in their investigation, and I salute them for that work. Legislate, investigate, litigate. That's the path we have been on, and that's the path we continue to be on.
Yeah, AOC over the weekend is really upset. She says the greatest crime, I guess, pretty much, paraphrase, is the Democrats not impeaching, and we'll find out. I mean, this whole whistleblower thing could be something, could be nothing. We don't know what is going to take place here at the end of the day. We don't. We don't know what's on that phone call. There's a chance people and the powers that be could see it. The AG basically, the whistleblower said this is absolute emergency. So got it. This is emergency. It's emergency. It's emergency. It's emergency. Right? This here has crossed the line. The IG looked at it and said, no, it doesn't rise to that. No, it's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. I don't know what's in it, so I can't say. Everybody calls for impeachment because that's what they do.
No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. When the Mueller report...
Okay, I'm going to translate because it's hard because, she's Navajo. She says nobody is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
Report came out. It showed three things. First, that
there was a report. A couple things came out. Here's the first one.
A hostile foreign government attacked our 2016 election system.
Russians attacked. Hostile.
Second, that Donald Trump as a candidate welcomed that help. And
that Trump welcomed his hostile attacks, Putin, on our elections. That's number 2.
Third, Donald Trump did everything he could to obstruct justice.
And Donald Trump did everything he could to obstruct justice. You guys are lucky. I took an online course.
I read all 448 pages, and I call for the impeachment of Donald Trump.
She calls for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Not a shocker. That's what everybody does, right? Everybody's calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump on the left, and the right is sitting back and going, just, whatever. I mean, Nancy has said it over and over again.
You're the only ones who are sowing this. It's not true. I travel the entire country. Come with me sometime, and you'll hear what the American people are saying. They understand that impeachment is a very divisive measure. But if we have to go there, we'll have to go there. But we can't go there unless we have the facts. And we will follow obstruction that the president is making of us are getting the facts and make our decision when we're ready. And there's nothing different from one day to the next. We're still on our same path. I'm not answering any more questions on this subject.
There you go. And it is divisive. And if you, this is the thing, she's looked back in history and said, all right, do we really have enough to take him down? We don't have the votes. Us doing it is basically going to show how partisan and political this thing has come. And because we've been crying for it since day one, since the day he got elected. Since the day that he got elected, we've been crying for just this. If we do this, that gap could grow, and those people in the middle could look around and go, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I'm finding this to be very partisan, and I'm finding this to be a waste of time. And I'm now thinking to myself that maybe, just maybe, they've been out for Trump in such a way that we've never seen before. So I don't like this. And he could become a sympathetic figure. Right? Like the AOCs of the world and all the people in certain areas, they can do whatever the hell they want because, as Nancy said, you could run a glass of water and it's got a D by its name. It's going to win in certain areas. Other places, there's a fight and there's a divide. And you could get that 8, 10, 12% of independents who are leaning maybe right now, maybe Biden. But if you do this, no. It's divisive. It is. Sympathetic figure. Go look what happened when they impeached Clinton. Sympathetic figure. He became. And everybody looked at the Republicans as evil and bad. Now, if he did do something with the Ukraine, if he did do something where he said essentially, look, you do this or else, then you have to move forward on something because you can't do that. Not with the taxpayers' money. No, you can't do that. But if he didn't and it was just like, hey, blah, 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 congratulations, you're a winner. So have you guys figured anything out with Biden? By the way, our stuff's still coming. Don't worry about that, because he's Trump and he likes to tell everybody, hey, we should look into that. You know that. Come on now. Now, while all this is going on, can we have a real discussion about things like, I don't know, health care? How about this? All right. Can we have a real discussion about health care?
Something you're all familiar with. Healthcare costs are rising. A recent Gallup survey found Americans borrowed an estimated $88 billion for medical expenses. One major problem, no one really knows what anything costs.
That right there is the big thing. Nobody knows what anything costs. Talk about not having transparency. It drives me crazy. It does. It drives everybody crazy. This is a story about a guy named Frank, right? Has a back problem, and it turns out to be bad.
I'm an average working person. I'm not a millionaire. I go to work every day like everybody else.
Frank Esposito is a tool and die maker who for the last year has been fighting for his financial life. A fight he says began last March with unrelenting back pain.
It's kind of back pain that just wouldn't go away no matter what you did.
Esposito's an active person, but says back then he could barely move. An MRI soon showed a bulge in his spine, a herniated disc. And when he went to see a specialist,
he said, you need to go to the closest hospital immediately.
Immediately. He says doctors at the emergency room told him he needed surgery.
Herniation was so severe that it could have severed my nerve in half.
So you would wind up paralyzed?
Paralyzed for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Paralyzed for the rest of your life. Dude, you better take care of this ASAP. No joke, right? So you're just the average guy, average gal. You got a bad back. It gets a little bit worse. You go about your life. You get to the point where the pain's so excruciating. You go in and they're like, uh-oh, we got some real issues here. If you don't get this taken care of, there's a chance that you are going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You're going to be scared. Anybody would be. Right? Like anybody would be. I think we all realize that. When you hear stories like this and you wonder why people are behind Bernie and Buttigieg and a lot of other people over health care, about getting it out of the hands of insurance companies, I don't blame when you hear a story like this.
Aaron Carroll is a pediatrician and health services researcher who says there's no transparency in healthcare pricing.
This is somebody who's in pain and now has been told, okay, you might be paralyzed unless you run to the hospital. How are they supposed to become good shoppers and make complex, rational decisions? They're going to say, please tell me what to do, because that's your job.
Yeah. Frank got $650,000 in bills. $650,000 in bills within 2 months, and the insurance company's like, yeah, we're not going to pay it. We're not going to. You got to pay that because it was unnecessary. Wait a minute. Potentially going paralyzed is unnecessary? Are you kidding me? But it's transparency, right? You get those medical bills and you're like, I have no idea. These are lots of numbers. There's just lots. I mean, it is just so bizarre the way that these things are handled.
Even if it's not an emergency, we found there can be surprising swings in what a given procedure or test can cost. Our partner Clear Health Costs surveyed cash prices used here as a benchmark for comparison in two major metro areas, Dallas and San Francisco. For a simple blood test, prices ranged from $10 to $176 in the Dallas area. In the San Francisco Bay Area, from $15 up to $126.
Now, that's nuts, right? Well, you think it's nuts until you listen to some of the other prices. So those are the blood tests all over the place. Blood tests everywhere.
The cost for an ultrasound of the abdomen in Dallas ranged from $115 to an estimate of $2,459.
Excuse me? Let's listen to that one more time. Talk about price disparity.
The cost for an ultrasound of the abdomen in Dallas ranged from $115 to an estimate of $2,459.
That's insane. That is insane. Oh, we're not finished.
From $100 in the Bay Area to $2,800.
So you go in, and those are what they're charging, right? Those are what they're charging. And a lot of it's just a game, too, because they're working on profit margins. They're also working on losses, tax losses. So you go in and negotiate. You say it costs $600,000. You get it down to $200,000, which is what this guy did. You're going to take the loss of $400,000. Well, we're going to pay some of it, but, you got to pay the rest of this. But we're going to take a loss because it's nuts. It's a bunch of crap. That's what frustrates the hell out of people. No transparency. Could you imagine going to a place today? So let's say today you go get just a burger, right? You go get a burger. Table next to you, right? They pay $6 for their burger. You pay $400 for your burger. Oh, that's insane. Yeah. Same burger, same everything. You're paying $400. Why am I paying $400? Yeah, couldn't tell you. It's a secret. It's got codes and stuff, the buttons, the whole night. Just the way we do it. Sorry. And then the burger place says, "Well, fine. We'll only charge you $100 for it, but we're going to take a $300 loss on the burger." So, nuts. This is what pisses people off. This right here is what angers people when it comes to healthcare. Right? They deny. And then at the same time, they say, well, we're only going to pay this. And then at the same time, you look and you say, well, how is it that I got a blood test and it cost me $2,000? My deductible's $5,000. It's crazy. But I could have gone in and paid cash and it would have cost me $100. That's insane. They're gonna get to a point where they screw up so bad and piss off so many people, which I think is happening, that people are dying to change. Now, the government, I think, is going to jack the pooch, and I think our care will go down and get worse. But you understand why people get mad. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't begrudge anybody any of that stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, kids, they're out there today. The youngsters. It's climate change. Now, they're meeting in the UN this week, and they're going to talking about, what's going on, how they can fix everything. And the UN is there doing their thing. So you're going to have people talk about climate stuff all week long. Today, they're trying to shut down D.C., which is probably not very hard. It's not like D.C., lots going on there.
Nature is angry.
Yes.
And we fool ourselves if we think we can fool nature. Because nature always strikes back. And around the world, nature is striking back with fury.
That right there is Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Producer Phil, what will nature do?
Nature will mess you up.
Mess you up. You just have to listen to Chad Show. Know that? Just telling you guys, nature gonna mess you up. Nature is angry, said the vampire. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And, of course, you can't have nature and messing you up without this.
Time is running out.
Yep, time's running out. Got to act now. Sales, that's a great sales pitch, by the way. When you're going to sell something, you get it now. Ever watch television? What happens in TV? Hey, the first 10 callers get this, but there's only 2 minutes to act. Because you want people to be emotional and make a quick act. Quick, quick, quick. We need to act, but we need to be smart about it, right? Take a deep breath. Figure it out. Act now. Not, hey, by the way, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. If you don't act now, we're all screwed and we're all going to die and there's no coming back. So you better act now. What do I have to do? You have to give me all the power. Okay. You can make me safe, though, right? Totally. Sure. Hey, speaking of safe, Car Shield. Help you out. Make you safe. They can't fix climate change. Neither can I. But you know what they can do? They can protect your car in the event of what if. Yeah, they make the entire process of fixing your car for a cover repair so easy. You get to choose your favorite mechanic. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, and that's for free. And rental car, baby, for free. I love that. It is really an amazing thing. Your car breaks down, you call them up. They said, where do you want to take it? You choose. Take it back to the dealership if you want. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. It is that simple. Car Shield's amazing. They've paid out close to $2 billion in claims. They're ready to help you. Don't let your check engine light change your life. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection. Do what I did. Get Car Shield. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Or go to carshield.com. Use code Benson. That saves you 10% right there. Carshield.com. Code Benson. Or call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The King and Queen are coming to Downton.
What?
Moviegoers clearly were ready for a return to Downton Abbey. The cinematic spin-off of the hit TV series bowed with $31 million. Not only enough to take first, but a record opening for studio Focus Features.
What did he find out there?
Brad Pitt's sci-fi thriller Ad Astra and Sylvester Stallone's Rambo Last Blood debuted in second and third, respectively. Both were tracking to make about $20 million. Both made $19 million and change.
Yeah. It is what it is. There you go. Exactly what everybody thought kind of would happen over the weekend. Downton Abbey. Never seen an episode. I know they won Emmys, I think. Did they win Emmys? Even as a British show? They win any Emmys? I don't. They won probably Brits. Something like that. The Emmys last night are on. I had no idea they were on. I had zero idea. I was looking at Twitter for a second. I'm like, Emmys are on? I had no way. And I'm like looking, I'm like, I have no idea what Fleabag was. I still don't know. Fleabag, apparently, according to this, is a dry-witted woman known only as Fleabag. No filter. She navigates life and love in London while trying to cope with tragedy. The angry, grief-ridden woman tries to heal while rejecting anyone who tries to help her. And that won Best Comedy, apparently. It's a British comedy. There you go. Did not see it. So, there you go. How about actors that are those actors? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Some of you tweeting in about the insurance thing we were talking about, the no transparency, and how frustrated you are with that. And, you know, big pharma companies have a bad, as far as the companies that are most hated in industries, big pharma does, and a lot of that has obviously to do with the opioid issues. But insurance companies aren't far behind, and I'm telling you guys, they are biting the hand that feeds them and are going to work themselves out of a position because eventually, at the rate we're going, it's going to happen. Single payer will come. It's just whether or not we'll have a choice to stay private or go single payer. And I think it's coming sooner rather than later. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I think it'd be very helpful to get to the bottom of the facts, to follow the law, to get us there. That would include the whistleblower as well as the transcript of the conversation.
And if they don't?
Well, that'll be up to the House to decide how to proceed. But it's very much, I believe, in the public interest to get this resolved and be able to move on.
Yeah. I mean, everybody would like to see what's going on. What's in here? Just curious what's inside this thing. Is there something real, or is this just Trump saying, hey, what about this Biden, Hunter Biden, you know, the guy before you, new comedic president, the guy before you had a lot of problem with corruption, very friendly to, the Russians. And then you had another guy that came in after you, and it's kind of a lot of corruption in your country. But all the while, they did get rid of a prosecutor that was looking at Hunter Biden and this oil and, natural gas exploration drilling company operating the Crimea out of Limassol, Cyprus. And he's magically on the board, and there was $1 billion changing hands to the country. Just curious if you could, for a second, take a peek at that. Is it wrong? Is it right? It depends on how it was done. If Trump threatened them in any way, shape, or form to pull something or offered them a little bit more for something, then yeah, we've got to look at this seriously about him being in serious trouble. If it was just an offhanded remark, as Trump tends to do, whether you like him or not, everybody out there, knows that he says a lot of stuff that's offhanded. A lot of stuff. And just because he says it, it was no big deal. Greatest of all time. Best conversation ever. English is great. Just because he says it doesn't mean make it so. And just because Adam Schiff and Nadler and everybody else say it doesn't make it so either.
There was no pressure put on them whatsoever. I put no pressure on them whatsoever. I could have. I think it would possibly have been okay if I did. No. But I didn't. I didn't put any pressure on them whatsoever. You know why? Because they want to do the right thing, and they know about corruption, and they probably know that Joe Biden and his son are corrupt. They probably know that.
Now, here's something interesting, right? Whether you like Trump or not, it's fair to ask the question, right? Because the question wasn't being asked, and it's fair to ask the question about what took place there. How did Hunter Biden, who, a year or so before, and we're going back to like 2012, 2013, 14, gets a ton, like, the Bank of China's throwing him and some investment bankers $1 billion, and he's on this investment banking board. Then you've got this company, right, out there, and all of a sudden he's getting paid on the board. Wait, what? He's flying on Air Force Two? He's like, yeah, my son and I don't talk to him about that. They do a kind of an investigation, but nothing real. I think it's fair to ask a question. Nobody's really looked into this situation the way it should have been. In saying that, the way that Trump has gone about and done it may put himself in some serious trouble.
Biden had the guy fired, Shokin. By the way, his statement's on record. The lazy press could go read it. Don't have to listen to me. There are 3 videotapes of prosecutors on record, available on here, that nobody has covered for 5 months because this town protects Joe Biden. His family has been taking money from his public office for years.
That real? Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of Rudy Giuliani because I just, he's no longer America's mayor, right? Like there's 2 Giulianis. There's this Giuliani, and then there's Giuliani of New York and 9/11 and all that. There's 2 of them. That's the way I like to say it. That was his brother, and this is him. It is a fair question to ask. It is a very fair question at this point to ask. What did happen over there? Just out of curiosity. What went down over there? Just out of curiosity.
I hope you're going to be able to see a call because I didn't do it. Everybody's looking for that call. And keep going the way you're doing because when you see the call, you're going to be very surprised.
Which is potentially true. Again, potentially very true. Just like to figure it all out. Like it's fair. I think a lot of people are curious about it. I've talked to a few Republicans in Congress that are curious about it. In saying that, they also they're more curious about that than a lot of the other stuff that's gone on. In saying that, they also have tempered that with, we've heard a lot of this stuff before. We've heard a lot of this stuff before. So, but let's get down to the bottom. What exactly did take place? What did you promise, not promise, or threaten to take away Trump if you did any of that? Secondly, and most importantly, for the people on the right. So that's for the people on the left. What did you promise, not promise? What did you threaten if you did any of that? People on the right. Maybe we should ask questions about Biden's kids. You do it to Trump's kid. Maybe we should ask questions about Biden's kid. How did he get into a position where he's on all these boards getting paid all this money and you're over there dealing with him as vice president of the United States of America and magically money flows one direction or contracts flow one direction? It's a fair question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So I'm asking a question right now, and I posted it. Greta Thunberg was today at the UN, and she was, she's very emotional. She's very upset.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
And I've asked a question because, look, kudos to her for doing this. In saying that, I feel like she's being exploited. I feel like that this is one of those things where you can get a girl like her or people like what we saw from Florida and the shooting there and what went there, and you can take people out and essentially exploit them and do things and have them fight a battle where you think, well, nobody's going to punch back at this. Nobody's going to, you got a little girl out there. She's 16. She's done this for a couple of years. We're not going to go after her because look what they did. They went after David Hogg and people got destroyed. So like, this is even better, right? This is even better. Although Europeans, by the way, some of them are calling BS on a lot of this stuff and asking the same question. Are you exploiting this young girl? Are you exploiting her? Because I feel like people are, right? I feel like people are exploiting her. She's out there and she's just spinning off the same thing over and over again. Nobody's asking her any real questions, right? Nobody's doing any. I mean, she's and good for her. Like, you know what? Go out there if this is what you truly believe. But I kind of feel like she's pushed some of this stuff, and it's grown bigger than it is. And she's like, I'm not going to go to school because you've ruined everything.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
I just, I feel like she's being exploited. And people are like, for her, look, people are looking at her saying, look, we'll take her. We can do all of these things. We can roll her out there. We can do all of this stuff because nobody's going to really hit back at her. Nobody's going to do it. Right? She started Future Fridays. She started standing out in front of the Swedish parliament on Fridays, and it continued to grow from there. And now it's got all of this stuff. And she's talking about like there's no reason to go to school because the world's over. And I feel like nobody could say anything. You can't say anything about her, right? You can't. And then you've got, adults sitting up there just, I'm sorry.
Nature is angry.
Yeah. Producer Phil, what will nature do? What has Chad Benson Show always said?
Nature will mess you up.
Don't even need scientific data, a lot of charts and models. We all know that nature will mess you up.
Nature is angry. And we fool ourselves if we think we can fool nature. Because nature always strikes back. And around the world, nature is striking back with fury.
There are numerous predictions that have flopped. Ozone depletion, Great Peril of Life, 1974. 1976, scientists, they predicted, and consensus, by the way, that the planet was cooling and famine was imminent. By the way, for those of you who don't know, ask any scientist. Said this the other day, I'll continue to do it. Would you rather have it a little bit warmer or a lot of bit cooler? They'll say a little bit warmer. A lot of bit cooler. That's not good for growing stuff. That is famine. No end in sight to a 30-year cooling trend, 1978. Maldives Island, they predicted in 1988, will be underwater by 2018. By the way, for those of you not keeping score, Maldives, as long as you're not flying Thomas Cook, good place to visit. Throwing it out there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from each and every one of you. The Emmys were on last night. Once again, I did not watch, and not because I was being snarky about it, which normally I am snarky about something like that. I just don't watch shows where everybody pats themselves on the back. And apparently nobody else did.
Game of Thrones.
A big win for Game of Thrones couldn't save the Emmys, the smallest audience on record. Tuned in to TV's biggest night, just 6.9 million viewers, according to Nielsen, the first time ever below 10 million. That's a 32% drop from last year. Whoa. For context, Sunday night's 60 Minutes easily beat the Emmys by more than 1 million viewers. For several years, award show ratings have been dropping, but this year the Oscars, Golden Globes, and Grammys were able to stop the bleeding. The Emmys, not so much.
No. And a lot of reasons. One, people are sick and tired of the politics in it and issues, and they're just kind of. Secondly, is we used to turn in because we didn't see these people on a daily basis. Now you can't escape anybody. So it's no longer, you'd see somebody you hadn't seen in 3 months because they're not making a movie, they're not doing interviews, not doing any of these things. Now you could see them 24/7. So there's a bit of that. But I think the politics has a lot to do with it. The NFL struggled after the whole knee controversy, and this right here is a big deal for them. They're looking around going, well, why aren't people? Because nobody cares anymore. Watching a bunch of people who are celebrities congratulate each other on doing their jobs. You do your job every day. I do my job every day. I don't get an award. Do you get an award? No. Like, you're the best accountant of the week. Well, some people get awards, like they get their name on a plaque somewhere, like you're the best cashier. Do they have a night for it? No, they do not. What'd you wear today? The same thing I wore yesterday, a schmuck. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're going to a great organization, AMAC. They're awesome. Really are. They're fighting the good fight out there. They're looking around and they're going up against huge liberal, we're talking uber progressive organizations that are out there to look and say, hey, what can we do for Medicare? What can we do for Social Security? What can we do to change these things? And AMAC's like, no. That's wrong. We're here to help. We want to fight for Social Security. We want to fight for Medicare. They want to fight to make sure that they're around for you. They want to make sure that you have choices. They want to make sure that you get all sides of the story. Because so many times people are getting one side of the story. AMAC is there to fight for you on so many things. ARP's out there throwing their money around for a ton of candidates, most of them uber liberal. AMAC, not so much. No way. They're saying, hey, we know what you want. You want to make sure your guns are protected, your Second Amendment. They want to make sure what? Common sense immigration reform, Medicare, Social Security. They're fighting for you. Now, opportunity to join them. Get ready for this. 1 year membership. It's on me. It is on me. All you have to do is go to amac.us/Chad. You're going to sign up for 1 year. Great benefits, and I'm talking awesome benefits. Retail, restaurant, hotel, discounts, all of those things and so much more. It's a 1 year benefit, and it's all on me. Join the membership now for AMAC. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad, or call 888-355-1617, 888-355-1617. That's amac.us/Chad. Join for 1 year free right now. AMAC is better, better for you, better for America. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
In a chilling exchange with an undercover agent, a Democratic presidential candidate's name is mentioned. The undercover asks, "You got anyone down in Texas that would be a good fit for fire, destruction, and death?" Smith allegedly responds, "Outside of Beto, I don't know of enough people that would be relevant enough to cause a change if they died."
Yeah, it is crazy what this soldier apparently was going to do, and CNN was also apparently one of the targets of this craziness. That you look at this and you're like, so wait a minute, you're gonna go after Beto O'Rourke because you don't like him, right? His name's Jared William Smith, 24. He was in Fort Riley in Kansas. He was arrested, charged with one count of distributing information related to explosive and weapons of mass destruction. And it's just nuts. It's going to go after CNN. Why are you going after CNN? They bombed themselves. They're awful. If he's convicted, he could face up to 20 years in federal prison, $250,000 fine. Never quite sure how that. Let's just say you do 20 years, then you get out, you have a $250,000 fine. How do you pay that back? Like, how does that work? Says he had knowledge of IEDs for days. He says, we can make a cell phone IED in the style of Afghans. I can teach that. Just uncomfortable. People are nuts. What the hell's wrong with people? Like, what is wrong with you? Right? Like, I could get frustrated at stuff, but I'm never at the point where I'm like, that's it. I'm so frustrated I'm blowing stuff up. Can't stop me now, kids. Nope, can't do it. Blowing up. That's it. I'm mad. Never. Never. Just like I've never known anybody who was frustrated enough to go shoot a bunch of people. Ever. I just maybe it's because I just choose not to associate. Maybe I did know somebody who did that, but I can't remember. Right? And I think most of us, right? Most of us sane individuals would go, I think something's wrong with so-and-so. I think they're a bit off. Right? Because people inherently can't keep their mouth shut, so they're going to tell you their plans. Trust me, Beto O'Rourke and CNN are not worth, no human being is worth. If you've got a problem, you seek help. You don't kill somebody because you think this is the way to make things better. You just don't. You're a clown. You're a clown. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Joe Biden said everybody's looked at this and found nothing. Who is everybody? Nobody's looked at the Ukraine and the Bidens. Nobody's looked at the role the Ukraine played in the 2016 election. Do you think the media in America would really look at it and report on it if there was something bad for the Bidens or they unduly interfered in the 2016 election? So here's what I'm calling for. I'm calling for somebody in the Justice Department to look at all things Ukraine.
All things Ukraine. What exactly does that mean? That's Lindsey Graham today talking about what's going on because Trump made a phone call and asked the Ukrainian leader about Hunter Biden. That's the kid of Joe Biden, about what's going on. Rudy Giuliani's been over there so much, he should be a citizen of the Ukraine because they're trying to dig deep. Joe Biden is a rival of Donald Trump. You're asking another foreign country to look into something with one of your rivals. And if the whistleblower who blew the whistle said he was disturbed or she was disturbed or they were disturbed about what they heard on the tape, what they heard, brought it to the IG, Inspector General, said, listen to this is an emergency. The IG said, yeah, I don't think so. And no. People like it's a cover-up. We need to know what's in there. If Trump actually threatened Ukraine, holding foreign aid, military help, money, stuff like that, that's a real problem. That is a serious, serious problem. That's a big if. We've heard a lot of these things before. Man, Ukraine, take the Ukraine out of it. All right, let's go for collusion, delusion. Got that, right? Got that one. The way that he's gone about all the investigations and the obstruction of justice. We've got that. All kinds of stuff when it comes to, his business dealings and things of that nature. I mean, we've been down this path before, so I think you could excuse everybody for not jumping up and down 24/7, say, this is another. But there could be something here that's real. And then again, it could be nothing because we don't know what's on it. Little stuff has been leaked. He said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I've talked to him about, Zelensky's his name, the president, about the Biden situation. I have.
Vice President Biden did a terrible thing the way he put it. I'm not looking to hold him to anything. I'm not looking to hurt him with respect to his son. Joe's got a lot of problems. Joe's got enough problems without that. But what he said was a terrible thing. It was an offer. It was beyond an offer. It was something where he said, I'm not going to give billions of dollars to Ukraine unless they remove this prosecutor. And they removed the prosecutor supposedly in 1 hour. And the prosecutor was prosecuting the company of the son and the son. He just shouldn't have said that.
That's what everybody is alleging. And there could be, there could be something real here because nobody's really done any deep dive into some of Hunter Biden stuff. He has seemed to kind of ridden his dad's coattails in the last name, dad being vice president, number 2 in charge. Pops, he goes to China, right? Comes back, all of a sudden buying, he's part of an investment firm, $1 billion is rolled in there from the Chinese, and he's getting paid to be on a board of some, investment bank. Same thing over here. He's getting paid money from a natural gas exploration company, headquarters out of Limassol, which is in Cyprus. And they basically, most of their exploration in natural gas is in the Ukraine, in the Crimea area. And while all this stuff's going on, he's going over to the Ukraine with Pops on Air Force 2. It's China on Air Force 2. The Obama administration said, well, he's a private citizen. We looked at nothing really. But there was a thought that, Joe kind of made it pretty plain, hey, do this or else. That would be a real issue as well. Absolutely. Where's the truth? Who knows? Because we'll probably never find it because we can't get past the politics. So the truth is, whatever side you're on, you're going to see that Biden's, bad, Trump's bad, wherever you are on the politics side of it. Do I think that he exploited Pops? Absolutely. Do I think Pops helped him? Of course. I don't care what Joe says.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened? That appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum.
Yeah, slow your roll there, Pops. I don't know. If Trump did threaten a foreign leader, then yeah, you got to look. All the while this is going on, there is more here for the Democrats to throw at Joe and question Joe about. Did you use your position? Right? We're going back. We're looking at all kinds of stuff, We're in a woke world now. You weren't woke in the past. We were all woke enough back then. You weren't woke enough. And now that maybe you used your position to help your son, it's a serious thing. Don't be surprised if they use this against him. Don't be. Absolutely. Speaking of being used, I feel like adults are using kids when it comes to climate change. Of course, the climate summit's going on at the UN, I think, the whole week. They're blocking traffic across the nation, in particular D.C. Greta Thunberg is out there giving an impassioned speech and chastising.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Woo! Yeah, she's pissed. She's angry. World's coming to an end. According to Nadler, we've got 50 years, and even at that, I don't even know if we're going to be able to save it. I mean, it's real. Like, Professor Nadler, he's serious. When he's not chasing Trump, he is a scientist, archaeologist, right? He goes out and hunts for extinct animals to see if they really are extinct, and he knows.
50 years. Extinction in the history of the globe. If the oceans acidified, essentially all that would be left will be bacteria and maybe some plants. And none of us, none of our children, no mammals, no animals, except for amoeba. This is what the scientists tell us we face in the next 50 years. We have to stop this. The Green New Deal, absolutely. We have to do that.
The Green New Deal, which deals with a lot more than the climate. It deals with income disparity. It deals with all kinds of different things that have very little to do with climate. So, and a lot to do with social justice. That's why people are very, hesitant to get involved in shit like this. Because, quite frankly, and I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I would love to see a better, greener planet. I think I've yet to talk. I talk to producer Phil every day. Never do I hear producer Phil say, you know what, Chad, I think today I'm going to go out and kill a penguin. Never. Producer Anthony, never. My night guy producer, Alonzo, I have never once in my lifetime heard anybody say, I am going to go out today and dump all of my oil places. Have corporations done it? Yes. As a kid, I knew not to litter. Man, was it Iron Eyes Cody? Was that his name, producer Phil, the Indian, where you threw it out and he... By the way, I just want to remind everybody he was Italian. And it would hit his in the little eye. Right? It's just a little tear coming down. Phil, remember that? I'm never littering again. Why is he standing by the side of the road? But I'm never littering again. I don't litter. I pick up trash. I see it. I want to do my part. I've never heard anybody. In saying that, when you try to push politics into fixing something like this or trying to do the right thing, what you get is a lot of people who all want their piece of something, who all want to make something even in the world of politics, and the message gets absolutely lost. And that right there is not a win. You're not going to get a win that way. Period. Case closed. End of story. And that's the frustration the people on the right have. when you look at this. I get it. I have a lot of friends who are very, very conservative. And they're unsure about climate change. And they all want to do well by the planet. I have friends who are progressive, by the way, who are also unsure about climate change because they see the politics involved in it. That's what we have to figure out. How do we get the politics out of it and do it right? Well, when you start going to the UN and you start playing the political BS game, guess what's going to happen? People tune out because they're seeing you're grabbing for social justice and you look like you're using kids to do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. A soldier did what?
Private First Class Jarrett Smith told the FBI he wanted to cause chaos, and if chaos means people die, it doesn't affect him. The FBI said Smith discussed plans to bomb an unnamed American news network. Before he joined the Army, Smith allegedly expressed a desire to fight in Ukraine with the Azov Battalion, a paramilitary far-right group. Court records quote Smith boasting of his ability to build bombs and include an exchange with an FBI informant who asked anyone down in Texas that would be a good fit for fire, destruction, and death. Smith's response included a reference to presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts. So you're going to be hearing more about this throughout the day. But this guy apparently was going to, I don't know where he was going after CNN, MSNBC. I can pretty much assure you that he's probably not going after Fox. But you'll be hearing more about this. And he seemed pretty damn ready to go. There was no hesitation. I'm always curious how they catch people. Like, where do you go? I wouldn't even know where to go to get into a conversation about this. Is it the dark webs? Is that where you go? Should I be looking in the dark webs just to see what kind of stuff's going on there? Because Producer Phil, you've done it too, right? You've been on the dark web and you're like, there's nothing here.
And it's slow.
It's so slow. It is the dark web's on the struggle bus. We're looking around. We're like, I can't find anything. I thought you go on here. People are offering you drugs and to do hits for you just to, oh yeah, this guy's totally. No, it's not even like that. No. It's just, I always wonder, where do you catch these people? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Election year, it's on the horizon. What have the uber progressives done? Well, they're trying to cause chaos. You see it going on out there. It's nuts. I tell you what, I'm working with an organization that's looking and saying to themselves, okay, there is a way to combat this, a way to fight the uber progressives. And that's AMAC. AMAC is it. They're important to me because you know what? I've been out. I've met them. They're worried about Social Security. They're worried about Medicare, for example. They're worried about things that matter in the everyday person's life that's out there. They're not worried about crazy, way off, wacky ideas like open borders and stuff like that. They're worried about taking care of Americans, taking care of the people that have come here and done it legally, taking care of the things that matter in the everyday American's life. So join me and AMAC. Help us fight the good fight, becoming a member today. The benefits are great. The cause is even greater. You can join for free right now. 1-year membership. It's on me. Go to amac.us/chat or call 888-355-1617. That's 888-355-1617. It's a 1-year membership. It is on me. Go there today. amac.us/chat. Join for free. AMAC is better. Better for you. Better for America. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Impeachment? Maybe. Apparently tomorrow the Dems are going to get together. They're going to caucus on impeachment. See where that goes. AOC said that no matter what crime Trump has committed, that the Democrats not going forward with impeachment is a bigger crime. So there you go. So we'll see. We'll see what takes place. Again, and Nancy Pelosi's come out and said it. She's been around the country. She's talked to a lot of people. It's very divisive, and you got to make sure. But know this, you're going to turn half the country off to your message no matter what it is, and there's a portion of the country that is independent that's going to look and may make him a sympathetic figure, just like the Republicans did to Clinton, right? Because their want to destroy and to get was so good that they didn't care about anything else. So big, so strong, they just had to do it. And I feel like a lot of that is taking the same path. So you never know. You do never know in life. Think of this. Should be the greatest day of your life, turns out to be one of the worst days of your life.
What does that say?
When Steven Weber proposed to girlfriend Kenesha Antoine.
Oh, it's so cute.
He did it with a little bit of daring, writing, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you." Her answer, a resounding yes, but Weber never heard the reply. He drowned shortly after this proposal.
Yeah, so he goes down, and it's like at a hotel that is, it's like, you know, one of these ones that's kind of out in the ocean a little bit, and you're in this room, and you go down, and boom, he does this whole, like, spiel. You know, he's got a thing written on a paper, the whole 9 yards, and that's it. That was it. She said yes. Nobody knows what happened outside of that. He came up. They worked on him. People said he was alive when he came up to the surface. They worked on him, did everything they possibly could, CPR, but he died. Something happened. They're going to do an autopsy, but, I mean, think about that. And she filmed it, the whole 9 yards. He's down there. He's holding his breath. He's got this thing in like a plastic piece of paper, and he flips it around. You know, it's like, no matter how, I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you how amazing and incredible you are. Flips it over on the other side. Will you marry me? He's got the ring, the whole night. He does everything. And then they said something happens at that depth. I don't know how deep it was. There's still some stuff that's a little missing here in this. Like, what took place? Did he get disoriented? Did he start to pass out? Did he panic? Did he take water in and then he panicked more? Awful, though. Awful. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I'm talking throughout the day about Greta Thunberg, who is the young Swedish girl who's 16, who is upset at us for climate change, adults, and she's very upset.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Yeah, never forgive us. Not going to forgive us. No forgiveness there. Not quite sure. She never really laid out everything that she wants. But my question is, are we exploiting her? And by we, I mean adults. Not me in particular, but just adults. Are they exploiting her? Much like they did with, what took place in Florida, the shooter. I mean, I think there's a sympathetic figure of a young girl here who wants great things for the globe. She's become a huge, huge figure, and I feel like she's being exploited. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show, Twitter and Instagram. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The issue is whether there was and is a quid pro quo. I mean, in return for the investigations the president asked for, was there a consideration regarding the money for Ukraine?
Yep. People are asking questions. Republicans are asking questions about, hey, what's this all about? Right? Did you do anything, President Trump? Did you say, could you investigate? And apparently he asked on more than several occasions to investigate Biden's son and Biden. And did Biden use his platform as vice president and his son really piggybacked off of it to get Cush-paying board member positions where he did virtually nothing other than put his name somewhere and get paid tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars? Did that happen? Is it possible? Absolutely, is it possible? Is it possible Trump actually said, do this or else? Yeah. And that's why we need to see what exactly was on that. I mean, we should kind of all know, right?
I think it'd be very helpful to get to the bottom of the facts, to follow the law, to get us there. That would include the whistleblower as well as the transcript of the conversation.
And if they don't?
Well, that'll be up to the House to decide how to proceed. But it's very much, I believe, in the public interest to get this resolved and be able to move on.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. Trump's, he's out there saying, don't worry, it's no big deal. It was the greatest, probably the greatest phone call in the history of phone calls. It's like super great, like better than great, like the greatest. Nobody's ever picked up a phone and made a call like that ever. It was awesome.
There was no pressure put on them whatsoever. I put no pressure on them whatsoever. I could have. I think it would possibly have been okay if I did. But I didn't. I didn't put any pressure on them whatsoever. You know why? Because they want to do the right thing, and they know about corruption, and they probably know that Joe Biden and his son are corrupt. They probably know that.
Yeah, well, you saying it doesn't make it so. I'd like to know now. And if you did, there's a real issue here. If you did, there's a serious issue, and the Democrats have something there, something real. Something real. I talked to two people today in Congress on the right side of the aisle who said if there is a threat to pull away aid or for more of this, that, and the other, then there's some real questions that need to be answered by the president, and he could be in some trouble. But we'll see. Again, we've heard it all before. Somebody said today, well, it's like the boy who cried wolf. And I said, well, if you follow the entire story, you know that eventually there is a wolf. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. With all of this stuff going on, we forget that there is something else happening. The 2020 race to be the Democrat nominee is taking place, regardless of what takes place with Trump.
She's one of the only candidates that has seen this steady momentum all summer. In almost every poll, she is gaining traction. As I travel the country and I talk to different folks, they tell me that they like that she has a plan for everything. And that's one of her signature messages, right? That she has a plan.
But Warren doesn't have a plan for one thing, and people are starting to ask real questions now is where is your health care plan? Everybody else has kind of rolled out theirs. Where is your health care plan? Like a real plan. And you've been very vague on this stuff. And she has been very much the person that has been in the lead on the left side of the aisle as far as this race goes with here's my plans for everything. Right? This is it. Right here is the plan here. There's a plan here. There's a plan here. There's a plan here. There's a plan here. I've got plans. Because I think she's trying to figure out, she wants to differentiate herself in some ways from Bernie Sanders. She does. And Bernie right now is tapped out. I think Bernie has got the ceiling. He's hit the ceiling now. He overperformed. He's performing right about where people thought he was, and he's struggling. He is. And guess who else is struggling? Cory Booker. Cory Booker apparently needs $1.6 million to stay in the race. I think Spartacus may be out. I'm just saying. He may be done for.
Say you're not polling as well, but when the Iowa caucuses roll around, you finish top 3. That is going to send a big signal to the rest of the country and other voters, right? That, hey, listen, I picked up traction here in this key early voting state. Maybe my campaign stands a chance.
Maybe. Harris is throwing everything she's got into it. I think a lot of people they're focusing on, because I think the way they think is if I can survive long enough and have a good showing, I think there'll be 8 still there right around Iowa, which is February. And then after that, you'll drop down to 3 or 4. And then they'll start really throwing themselves behind whoever they think is going to be giving them the most. I think you're going to see Bernie sticking around. I think you'll see Elizabeth sticking around. And for Biden, there's a lot of questions about Joe. There's a lot of questions about Joe Biden, not just what's going on with the whole whistleblower thing, because those questions need to be asked. There's some serious questions that need to be asked when it comes to not just what took place potentially in the Ukraine with this oil and gas company out of Cyprus, but also some stuff that took place in China. I think those are very fair questions to ask, right? If you're enriching yourself. Somebody texted in earlier and said, well, what about Ivanka? And she got patents in China. Ivanka, even the even the New York Times kind of said, nah, it's coincidence, yes, but is there any nefariousness there? No. She was already kind of a brand for a long time. Hunter Biden, most of you have no idea who Hunter Biden is. They're like, was he? No, he wasn't the one who passed away. He wasn't. So I think it's fair to ask the question. But you know what's funny is, well, everybody else is screaming and yelling about, I can't believe we got to impeach Trump and this is awful, this is horrible. Like, all of that stuff is going on. Don't think for a second that as it gets closer and closer and they start to weed out, that you'll start to see these candidates swing harder. And some of these candidates running against Joe, who are coming hard at Joe, are going to start asking these kind of questions. Hey, Joel, just out of curiosity, what up with that? Just ask him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Oh, man. Greta Thunberg. Touch a little bit on her. Interesting. She is 16 from Sweden. Pissed off and angry at all of what's going on, and very much, this is the soundbite of the day.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Now, I feel like she's being used. I feel like she's being exploited by people who are trying to use her, just like they tried to use Marjorie Stoneman Douglas kids for political gain, because you feel like, hey, you know what? If you take a swing at these kids, we're going to come hard for you. So people will just kind of, especially after what place with the, with the David Hogg thing, and they'll come for the whole cancel culture. We're going to come after you and take everything. How dare you even criticize a child for having any kind of political belief whatsoever? And I feel like this has nothing to do with the politics of it all, and it's all to do with, is it the right thing to do? Is it? I mean, she's thrust out there. She's on her way. She's going to win a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't think there's a doubt that she's going to be nominated and win one. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming. She's got like 2 million followers on Twitter. She's, all of these things. And I just feel in my heart like, you know what? She's being completely exploited. And in doing so, these adults are they're throwing stuff out there that, that the world's over. It's coming to an end. I've got 40 plus world coming to an end things that never came to an end. Doesn't mean it can't, right? And quite frankly, we could fix all of this stuff, and then we could get a meteor that hits us, and it really doesn't matter at that point in time, right? From overpopulation to killer bees to all kinds of things that we've heard about that they've swung and missed on more than a few occasions. And kids not sleeping at night and fearing that the world's coming to an end because we, in many ways, and this is the correlation between this generation and like my generation, Gen X, how many of you out there, though, thought, we always heard about these are what these weapons can do, and Russia or the Soviet Union and the United States have all of these things pointing at each other. You're like, ooh. And kids back then would write a letter to the president. They would do this, that. I mean, but this is, in this day and age, I just feel like there's a little bit of exploitation because people want to grab more power and might as well have a chance to do that. They should want to take care of the planet. But I just feel like she's being exploited. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. At your Twitter and your Instagram. It's so dark outside. It's crazy. The rain, the lightning. Ooh, I love it. Then you go outside and you're like, man, it feels like it's 300 degrees. But still, it's kind of cool. It is. Hey, and we're going to an amazing organization. They're called Wounded Paw. If you've never heard of them, I want you to go check them out, woundedpawproject.org. What they do is they realize there was a need. Do you know that 20 veterans a day on average commit suicide? Sad fact, but it's true. Wounded Paw took notice of the high suicide rate among veterans, also recognized that every day thousands of dogs are being euthanized. They combine their love of dogs and their dedication to finding ways to help veterans, first responders, and their family. They rescue dogs, train them to be service dogs. So they take them from shelter dogs to service dogs. And what they do in transforming both lives is amazing. That dog right there and what it will do for a veteran, a first responder, their family who suffered through so much, knowing that animal's there is amazing. And that animal having something that, quite frankly, it looked like it would never have is incredible. Their motto is to save a paw is to save a life. But they need your help. Take action today. Turn your extra car, truck, RV, even a boat in a vehicle for change. You're going to be saving a paw to save a life. They also take cash. Huge, amazing tax-deductible gift. They're going to treat you right, and what they're going to do is they're going to perform miracles when you see this. Check it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Just go look for yourself. WoundedPawProject.org, WoundedPawProject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729 or WoundedPawProject.org. It is amazing. I'm telling you guys, it's tough. I've sent so many people there, and they come back and they're like, oh, my God. That's amazing. Check it out for yourself. WoundedPawProject.org. A little What's Trending straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege. Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look what's trending on the old Twitter. The Riddler is trending because apparently that is the next installment of the villains. How cool can they make the Riddler? Jonah Hill is trending as well because of the Riddler. I don't know if he's going to direct it, but apparently he's supposed to play in it. Nobel Peace Prize. Trump says he's worthy of one. It's also trending. Greta. I saw a great article, speaking of that, I think it was in the USA Today, it was New York Times, Washington Post, where they go, you know what? I don't like anything Trump's done, but yeah, he's worthy of the Nobel when it comes to trying to get some peace in places like the Korean Peninsula, which I thought was weird, right? How dare you and Greta, both of them are about Greta Thunberg. And she said today, how dare you? And Google, trending. Monday Night Football Week 3, trending. Frozen 2, that came out today, the trailer for it. No, fall or autumn, depending where you are. Trending as well. Bill Hader, who said, hey, I got no thoughts on Shane Gillis being fired. No thoughts. He probably does, but he's just like, you know, it's just better to keep my mouth shut. Disney Plus and Sid Haig. If you guys don't know who Sid Haig is, he is a character actor. He's been around for a long time. Passed away today. He's 80 years old. He starred in 3 from Hell, which just came out last week. The Devil's Rejects. And, of course, House of a Thousand Corpses. So he passed away today at age 80. So it's kind of weird. Your movie comes out last week and you pass away. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. That's what's trending around the globe, around the world. I just love the rain is here. It's so awesome. Phoenix is just not set up for it the right way. Like when I was in Europe, it would rain all the time. And sometimes it would come down just torrential rain. Never had flooding, never had any. But places where you have so much sunshine, it rains an inch and you're like, uh-oh, my car floated away. You're like, what? Yeah. It's climate change. No, it's not climate change, silly. I'm just saying, it's kind of interesting. Some of you tweeting in about 2020. Trump's going to destroy all those people. It's going to be very interesting to see the way this thing plays itself out. But I continue to remind people out there that are watching, a lot of this stuff. There's a long way to go, but you've got to be the nominee first. And over the weekend was the first time that I started to see, because, now Warren is up in the polls in Iowa, and it's the first time I started to see people asking serious questions about her. Because a lot of times, they've kind of just given it, they didn't really ask serious questions. This honeymoon seems to be over. The last, 2-3 months, it has been, let's get Biden. And I think that's starting to get to the point where you're in the lead. Trust me, all the eyes are focused on you, but that includes the media. And the media may still ask some questions. And you hope that they do. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. I want to know as much as I possibly can about any candidate that's running. So that honeymoon period seems to be over. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So, gig economy. As goes California, so goes everybody else. But could there be an issue here when it comes to truck drivers, owner-operators? We'll talk about it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yes, indeed. Global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. People are asking, hey, can you tweet out that list? Because we're talking about, there's 41 apparently. They're 0-41 for doomsday predictions. Remember acid rain? Oh, my God. I remember that. Acid rain was going to be huge. Huge. Massive. Was it in 2000? Children will never know what snow is. That was a great one as well. I'll tweet this list out a little bit later. It'll make you laugh, that's for sure. Again, I'm not saying stuff doesn't happen. It's when you start screaming and yelling that the sky is falling and that there's nothing we can do to fix it, or the only way to fix it is if I give you more power and more money. I have an issue with that. I do. I think most people do. Most sane people do. Speaking of craziness, California, as it goes, so do a lot of the country. And the gig economy, right? Mostly Uber and Lyft drivers. They're excited, right? Now they're going to be employees. They're going to get all kinds of stuff and protection, yada, yada, yada. They're going to be super excited. We'll see how this thing goes and if he even actually gets to the point where they are classified as that, because Uber and Lyft are going to do all they can to fight this. And on top of that, they're going to also see if they can get some sort of waiver away from this. But how about something that could really, really, really hurt? And I look at this and I say to myself, this matters nationwide because other states are already looking at, can we do this and get rid of the gig economy? Well, what about truckers?
Of the 9,000 truckers serving the Port of Oakland, about 8,000 are independent truckers. Some 437 port trucking companies broker work for them.
We can't use them at the beginning of the year, and they have no home. They have no way to get work. They have no way to communicate with anybody because we're the ones that give them the work, and we coordinate all of that communication for them.
Yeah. Oh, well, what do you mean, man? It's going to be fine. They're just going to all have to be employees now. Well, slow your roll. Not everybody wants to be an employee. You talk to most servers and bartenders, they don't want $12 or $15 an hour. They make a lot more money off tips, right? This is those circumstances we talk about. You get some people out there screaming and yelling because they want to unionize and do certain things and have people step in, but a lot of people don't want any part of that. They want to be their own.
That includes Port and Homeland Security Registry, making sure they have the right permits, insurances, get paid, pay taxes, and have loads to haul. On really busy days, AB Trucking may hire as many as 50 drivers who own or lease their own trucks. But come January, the law forbids AB Trucking and others from using any trucker it does not directly employ.
I think it's going to be mass confusion, and the system will collapse.
No, but it's no big deal, though, because the good news is that they can unionize. They can do all of this stuff, and your goods continue to rise. Nation, pay attention.
Manufacturers, shipping companies, terminal operators, railroads, and those who ordered the goods all depend on truckers, and they're all counting on each other in a worldwide supply chain. None of these firms are likely to hire thousands of drivers, though.
And once you take that link of the owner-operator out, everything falls apart.
Now, if this was just a port trucking problem, that would be bad enough. But the fact is, this problem spreads over the entire trucking industry in California, and nobody can live without trucks.
No, nobody can. I mean, think about that for a second. And when we talk, we're just talking about climate, right? As we go through this climate change, as they're out there today and everybody's speaking at the UN and they're talking about this, I get truckers every time we talk about this. You have no idea what California and its restrictions and the things it's done, how it's hurt our livelihood. They do everything they possibly can. And now this whole thing, these are the, unseen circumstances, the unforeseen circumstances, the oops, we're sorry we hurt you, but look, isn't this better now? Isn't it better? It's got to be totally better, right? Because you don't want to be your own boss, because that's a lot of what they are, owner-operator.
It's just not going to work. It's going to drive up pricing, the jobs. Come January 1, it's going to be a real problem.
Greg Mena's construction hauling company also uses many independent truckers.
We're real busy from probably April through December, and then we're slow for 2 or 3 months.
So, could Mena keep them busy as employees?
No, they'll get all laid off in the wintertime.
We have the opportunity to make a lot more money than being an employee.
UC Davis grad Tien Tran gave up a career setting up computer networks to become an independent trucker.
I don't think I'd be doing trucking if I wasn't an owner-operator.
Maybe my company will last through May, and then I'll be forced out of business along with all these owner-operators. They'll be done.
Nah, it's no big deal, though, because as long as California sets it up, and like I said, nationwide, think about this. You're looking at ports. Think about New York. Maybe we should do the same thing. All right? Oh. I mean, are they going to do the same thing for actors and actresses? Well, I mean, there's waivers for people who cut hair and a few other ones, but this is real. Like, this will affect people, and not just in California, nationwide, in the way that stuff is shipped. But they know better. That's the frustration. That's the frustration for a ton of people out there. It's like, well, wait, let's just slow down a second. This is something real. But are you sure that everybody wants to be an owner-operator? No, some people want to work. But most of these companies and most of these people, these individuals I talk to, it's about being an owner-operator. It's about having your livelihood and the control of your world.
At least 4 independent truckers tell me even though they pay the expenses for owning and maintaining their trucks, they make twice what employees driving for company trucks and the owners of those companies do. So it's a much better economic deal for them, but it could go away.
Yeah, well, it's no big deal because it's nothing to do with And here's my because I don't think, I know that everybody's fighting to get a waiver. Like, hey, our industry shouldn't be, it's not like that. I know everybody's trying hard. What if? I mean, think about the people that are going to be hurt. Think about the people. Who's going to be hurt? It's going to be people who are at the lower income level who are going to end up having to pay more for goods because these companies are going to have to hire employees. Other people are going to say, screw it, I'll go to another state and do it because I want to control my own destiny. I mean, there's going to be, the repercussions will be felt. It's nutty. And that's the thing that frustrates the hell out of people. It's like, you didn't foresee any of these things? I mean, some things you're not going to be able to foresee. Some things, though, you are. And they don't care, though, because they can run amok there. But as California goes, so do many other states. And they're going to look at stuff like this. And what's that do? It makes it harder and harder for people to start their own business, to do certain things, and to control your own destiny when the state's up in your business all the time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, please, please, please do. The whistleblower fun that is the Trumps, the Ukrainians, what's going on, what's not going on.
We had a perfect phone call with the president of Ukraine. Everybody knows it. It's just a Democrat witch hunt. Here we go again.
Democrat witch hunt. That's all it is. Nothing to see here. Nothing.
When the president speaks to the head of another country, he has to be able to speak to those people. And those people don't want to know that they're being recorded or that you have a stenographer working.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that's very real about that. How stuff gets out, how stuff gets leaked out. I think that's a real question that people should ask themselves about that. Trump trying to defend himself, talking about, well, there's some issues there with the Ukraine.
Ukraine has had a tremendous corruption problem. Somehow they were involved in a lot of different things that took place in our country, and hopefully it can be straightened out.
We'll see. We will see. We'll see what ends up happening. People are getting mad at me. Some people out there who've made Trump their god. And they're mad at me because I'm like, if, and it's a big if this turns out to be true, that Trump used his political power to try to influence the Ukraine to do something on somebody who is a political rival by saying they would withhold money or they would withhold aid and or military help in certain situations, Crimea, the Ukraine, the whole nine yards. That is very, very disturbing, and they need to look into it. And that's a big if, because I don't know what's on there. I have no idea what's on there. I don't know what's on the tape. We've gotten a little bit of it. He's kind of admitted it in saying all of that. I still have no idea what's on there. Zero, zilch, nada. He's admitted, yeah, I spoke to him. Yeah, I asked a question about Biden and his kid. And yeah, you know what? In fairness, right? And this is in fairness to Trump here. There needs to be some questions asked about Biden and his kid. They're due. Giuliani over the weekend was speaking with John Roberts, talking about this. And while Giuliani goes off the rails at times, and he's been over there so much, they should make him a citizen in the Ukraine. The reality is he does point out something that's very real.
Biden had the guy fired, Shokin. By the way, his statement's on record. The lazy press could go read it. Don't have to listen to me. There are 3 videotapes of prosecutors on record, available on here, that nobody has covered for 5 months because this town protects Joe Biden. His family has been taking money from his public office for years.
Yeah, and I think it's very fair to ask a question of how did Joe Biden's son, Hunter, get so many great opportunities to sit on boards at certain things like investment banking. He has nothing to do with investment banking. You got to sit on a board. Or sit on the board of a, oil and gas company, and his pops is over there and he's dealing with stuff and there's money potentially coming and not coming. How a guy that's investigating them is all of a sudden canned. I mean, I think there's some very fair questions to be asked here. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, this could bite Trump in the ass and it could bite Biden in the ass, but I think it's fair to ask the question, right? Because we get all over Trump and, oh, my God, his kids are enriching themselves and blah, blah, blah. Well, can we not ask the question? Long before the Trumps were even in office, this stuff was supposedly happening. We're talking 2013, 2014. Looking into some of these things, I think, is a fair thing. The media has pretty much ignored it. By and large, have just ignored the entire thing. So, yeah, I think there is a fairness there. But if Trump used his power by saying, I'm going to deny you this, this, and this if you don't do this, then that's a real issue. That's a very big issue. Did he share state secrets? No. But could he be in serious trouble? It's possible. But we don't know what's on the call. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hey, if you listen to my show, you know that I take my Super Beats every day. I'm busy. I go. And every once in a while, I just need, boom, take my Super Beats. Get a little bit more oxygen, a little bit more energy. That's where it comes from. And the thing is, at work, I don't bring in my beats that I scoop into the water and stuff. That's at home. They have these new soft chews that are just awesome, right? Gives me all the potent heart health benefits of Super Beets packed into 2 convenient, delicious soft chews. It's awesome. It's incredible. Their latest ingredient is Breakthrough. It's grapeseed extract, right? So that supports healthy blood pressure, circulation, natural energy. So away I go. It is incredible. I love it. You're going to love it too. They sold out of these things in no time. Try them. You're going to love them. So boost your heart health, right? Do what I did. Get yourself some Super Beets soft chews. It's simple and easy. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Or call 800-875-9341. When you buy 2 bags, they're going to throw a third one in for free. That's superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Time is running out, but it's not too late. So let us heed the calls of wise leaders, religious, business, and especially young people who are taking to the streets to demand that we change our relationship with nature now.
Secretary General, the UN, Count Dracula, talking about, Chad, that's nice. His name's Gutierrez. You're a jerk, Antonio Gutierrez. You're the worst. You're the worst. Look, we talk about it all day. Absolutely 110% behind it. Let's do it. Let's do it right. Let's get it sorted out. Do I think we need to heed the warning to the point where we're supposed to change everything in the world? I continue to try to tell people, young people can't go 5 minutes without their cell phone. Imagine if we changed everything and it was a situation where cell phones, electricity, it was hit or miss. It took a long time. There was lots of unemployment. It's not just about, when they talk about the Green New Deal, that's about social justice. Let's focus on the problem at hand. If you're worried about the climate, which many people are, I got no problem with that. We should take better care of our home. And here's the other thing, and I want to tell the people, and we've talked about this throughout the day, I want to continue to remind people out there, people on the left who are really into this, who've turned this into somewhat of a religion, you're going to catch more flies with honey. Who cares why people on the right want to see action taken towards climate change? People don't care, right? I don't care why you do. For me, I want to see us take better care of the planet. Do I think the world's coming to an end in the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is that, when we get Nadlers, 50 years, all that's going to be left is an amoeba. That's it. That's all that's left is an amoeba. Settle down, right? Who cares why? Some people are so obsessed. It's got to be the reason that you're doing this is because of this, because if not, we don't even want you to participate. Frustration. Greta Thunberg, should she win a Nobel Peace Prize? I pretty much can guarantee you she's going to get one. I bet you she does. I bet you she does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us to figure out over the next coming days what will take place with this whole whistleblower thing. It will be very interesting to find out if we're going to see any of this. And some of you have been pissed off at me today because I have said that if Trump has gone and he has used his position to try to entice and or threaten a government with withholding aid, things of that nature, that, they should look and impeach again. People have flipped out on me. Well, I can't win. Can't win for losing, lose for winning. I'm telling you, it's crazy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Today is the boss's 70th birthday. Not a huge fan of the boss. I know producer Anthony is, so we'll throw this out there. Here's something you probably didn't know about the boss. He's had #1 albums, but he has never had a #1 hit. What? Born in the USA, I guess only got to #2, right? That is crazy, right? He has never had a #1 hit in all of his career. Neither has the one and only Bob Dylan, Creedence Clearwater Revival, just to name a few. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll do it again tomorrow as always. Night, Chad.
This is the Chad Benson Show.